Thank you. Okay, yeah, so thanks for meeting with me today. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
So what is your understanding around why Matariki was formed?
My understanding goes back a little way, because I was probably part of some of the initial stuff after it got off the ground. So it was around bringing the community together to celebrate Matariki and providing equity for all. So how do we actually go about crafting that in different spaces? That has transferred hugely into the kahuiaka work that we do around creating a platform for our tamariki to shine regardless of the school that they are in, and it gives them the opportunity to participate in different things that float their boat. And obviously, you know, we've moved out of national centres some time ago, but however the focus is still on reading, writing, maths in some ways. So this gave the opportunity for wellbeing to step in, for our community consultation to fly. It also gave the opportunity for people to be aware of their cultural competencies and what they look like in their space, and also has grown robust kind of practice for most.
Awesome. So what benefits did you see in this initiative of getting all the schools together to do it collaboratively?
Where there's benefits, there's always the flip side as well. But definitely the benefits have been the collaboration, which has been fantastic, the sharing of the load, but also given autonomy to float that how you need to for your part in it. Having the wider community involved, so for example the Māori wardens and the police, the council, and over the years it has grown and morphed into different things, which has been so exciting, and the momentum has continued, which, you know, like many initiatives they don't, but this really has. And of course it compounds this year with actually having a public holiday for Matariki, so that's a really exciting acknowledgement for all.
Oh, definitely. What, if any, implications or challenges did this put onto your school?
I think that realistically the only challenge has been the logistics. You know, the logistics of moving over 1,000 people in a hikoi, for example. You're never going to get it perfectly right, and there will always be little bits and pieces that you could do better. However, over the years we've definitely changed to suit what the community indicates they want. So it started as an initiative that has grown and morphed and changed and grown with our tamariki, which is really neat, and more they're taking the lead, which is very exciting to see. And I think that's a really good indication of where individual kura are with the acknowledgement of the influence of Te Reti o Wātangi, and actually living that out in action. Yeah, definitely collaboration. Definitely for a kahuiaka lens, having a look and seeing the fact that we all are responsible for all children, and we have a lot of transients within our community, so it's another way of being able to touch base and keep on top of things.
And for your students, what impact do you think it's had?
So I'm thinking of our original tamariki who are now in the latter part of their college, so year 11 and up. This is their norm. I don't know any other way. And I think, you know, as a nation, we've made massive commitments, rightly so, to impacting how we view te reo and how we view te ao Māori and te kind of practice. And I think by normalising it, that's a huge shift in our baby's culture, which is really exciting. Still more work to be done, of course. But that, and you know, it's given them all a platform with your beautiful arts and your visual arts and all of those sorts of areas in the curriculum. It's given a real good purpose, a purposeful meaning behind why we actually carry some of these things out.
Nice. And the impact do you think it's had on your teachers? You're talking about?
Yeah, lots of them have been stretched outside comfort zones, and that's a good thing. So, you know, the model originally was principal-led, and it still continues to be in terms of facilitation. However, different teachers are picking up the mantle to do the actual organisation of the events. So it means that if I win lotto and run away, I know that it will continue without me, and it's going to be just fine. So it's that passing the torch to multiple people so it can continue, and that's part of that sustainability mould, and the way that we can foresee it happening. But with our teachers, it means that they do have to think about Matariki. It is a national holiday now, obviously. Every year we will celebrate it in term 2, and every year we change the slant that we look at it. So that's been quite cool for our tamariki as well. to actually acknowledge the same sorts of stories exist in multiple cultures, but actually what do they mean and how do we bring them back here to Aotearoa? Getting the kids out there making a hangi. You know, we should be able to do that any old time, of course. However, matariki is a natural progression for that. So, and getting community in as much as we can within the traffic light settings and all of that hoo-ha. But prior to that,
last 2 years,
prior to that, and last year we dodged that during Matariki last year, which was cool. We still had some restrictions, but I mean, here we still ran a whole school community hangi, and we had well over 300 people here. People that we would never see here usually as whānau, they all arrived. So it's reaching out and grabbing hold of different aspects of our community in a way that makes sense to them. And it's helping our teachers sort of look past the blinkers that we all naturally have.
You said before, you know, how it's matariki is continually evolving. Can you expand on that a little bit in ways that you see how it's moved from the beginning?
Sure. So from the beginning, we had a more silo-based, school-based community concert type things. The very original one that I remember, I think we had it up at the marae, and we had other fractions of the community coming in and helping out and facilitate it. That was super cool. We've continued to do that, but within our kura, we're probably taking different slants on how we actually enact it and get to it. And some of us use it as a stepping stone to get to Hauraki Fest in terms of the commitment for our kapahaka rōpū. Some of us have gone from kapahaka rōpū to whole school. So whole school is involved regardless of whether or not it floats your boat. So it's becoming more of an expectation. I think everything has gotten bigger. More people involved, like the community become excited about it, and you often get people coming out with hikoi specifically to come and sing with the children, where the first few years though it was more like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? So once again, I think it's that normalizing it has become common. The looking forward to it has become probably a change. Having it as a normal part of our year for our children, like they don't know, as I said before, they don't actually know any different now. So that would definitely be a change. And the different people that have been able to step in and out of the model of matariki has been definitely changeable with personnel involved. Different skill sets when they come, you know, different skill sets arrive. So, and we've changed it differently. We've done a hikoi all the way to college, where we all got together and hung out with their kapahaka rōpū. We've done hikois in town. We've done hikois in town going up to the pump house, where we've actually had singers and things up there ready. We've done it all kinds of different ways. So yeah, I think we're only limited to our creativity, really.
And how has this made an impact on your Māori learners with a sense of belonging and identity in your school, and then even in the wider community?
It's hard to isolate that, because it's for all, I guess, would be one way of looking at it. And everyone is involved. However, I think I'm thinking of my own children who are Māori. It gives them a platform. It gives them somewhere to stand that is actually uniquely identifiable with who they are. So I think that's a very cool aspect of that. In terms of engagement, it will often bring community members in that it's actually a scary place for them. They did not have great experiences themselves. So that gives them a more of a comfortable way to enter. And also we leave the school, so we're out in the community doing our thing. So some other barriers are broken down in that way. It's like, we know it's hard for you to come to us, so we'll come to you. And I think that's super important. So I think as a whole picture for our Māori learners, it's definitely a massive right that they have to be able to celebrate matariki. And I'm really keen to see and look back in the next 10 years and see what journey it undertakes to get to wherever it is we're going to be then.
In another 10 years. My next one was the impact of Māori learners with fostering their mana.
But, you know, and what it does super well, and this goes for all tikanga-based practice, not just matariki, is it gives some of our tamariki who don't necessarily shine in academia, and I'm not speaking for all, I'm just specifically talking to those kiddies who have those kinds of struggles. It gives them a voice, and it gives them a place to stand and be excellent. You know, like I'm thinking of some of our tāne in particular, and some may say that they like to cause a few behavioural issues. Give them haka and give them a place to stand with who they actually are. Their mana is exponentially growing, and they're able to participate and be seen by their peerage in a different light, which I think is just absolutely awesome.
Yeah, you mentioned here that I think there's this initiative, strengthened relationships with whānau, involvement in your kura. So you're saying, are you saying by being out of the school, they're coming in more? Is anything else there that you were?
I think it gives practical ways for people to be involved, especially around kai or around harvesting and planting. So for those people who, like, there are still a lot of people who feel they don't have a skill set to offer. I mean, my argument is just being here is enough. Yes. You know, but not everybody views it like that. So giving, it gives ultimately practical tasks that people can engage in and feel that they have been successful. So that's pretty cool. Also, now that it's more of a nationwide event, is a common talking point for all.
Yeah, I know, I'm recording it. So has this initiative strengthened relationships with iwi or with the local marae?
I think yes. When I think back to the original work that I was doing under the Hauraki Māori Trust work that we were doing, I don't know, 8-9 years ago, we had a 2-year project that was successful in that it opened doorways to have conversations, but there was no sustainability or longevity within it. Having Matariki as a constant actually still keeps those doorways open, and we're working really hard as a kahuiaho to invite and ask what we can do to help and give back to the various iwi, because as you know, we've got 12 or 14, depending on who you talk to, contributing to our area alone, and 3 of them are at the table engaging, so there's much work to be done. However, and it's not, you know, the model of what can we learn, what can we take has always been in the forefront, where now we're having to flip it to actually have success, and it's what can we bring. Can I come and do your dishes at the marae, you know, and actually trying to actually forge those trust relationships. So yes, it has forged further relationships with iwi, with the community marae, definitely, because like one of our goals here is to get every kid onto the marae at least yearly, if not more. So that's once again normalising it and giving our babies a place to stand here. Like, many of us aren't affiliated with specific iwi, so for me as Ngāti Pākehā, who believes Aotearoa is my iwi, then the Waihi Ngāti Nui is my place up with that marae. So there's those sorts of things, and you know, what's true for me would be true for 70% of education. So definitely, there is still work to be done, however.
Always. Having your school involved in Matariki Waihi, did this support any other culturally responsive initiatives you may have brought into your school curriculum? So as a springboard, we've also brought in things like the kahurangi dance. Is this the kind of thing that you're thinking of? Whatever. When we've taken a more of an international flavour, all of our cultures are represented through food, dance and dress, and who they are. So there's those sorts of initiatives that has occurred because of the way that we're rolling Matariki. Food is always a big carrier of all things, so that's always a slant. Looking further afield, so you know, we've brought people in, but as an extension of that, things like they're called Stillwater. They're a group, a high school up in Auckland, Pacific Islander High School specifically, and they come down once a year, and they are the most exquisite performers in the universe. So there's been lots of extension of relationships, would be fair to say, as a result of it. And Peter, are there any earlier you talked about part of it was building culturally competent teachers. So in your view, what is your view on this initiative and how that can build that?
So when you're looking at culturally competent teachers, a lot of that comes down to the documentation that you're actually unpacking. So actually, what does kahikatea mean in action? What does tautiaka mean in action? What are the board doing about the Hautu documentation? A question. So actually looking at those sorts of initiatives and putting them into your charter documentation as a living entity rather than a stagnant document gathering dust has been a really important piece of work. Utilising the Māori achievement frameworks has been an important piece of work that we've utilised for cultural competency growth, and actually doing a lot of self-assessment rubric kind of stuff on what is your personal next goal. I mean, obviously to mark anyone off as a teacher who is meeting registration criteria, their growth in Te Ao Māori has to be attested to. So what are we doing to support that as a kura? So all of our staff here have logged on to and participated in the Ed Perfect Te Reo course, because it's something that they can do independently in their time. Lots of us have done the Hika Whitikana through Wananga, those sorts of things. Some of us are signed up for the Te Ahu Te Reo program that's running from next term. So there's lots of ways that we've done it. We've also mapped out what tikana looks like in terms of quantifiable, which is such an un-tikana thing to do, but the ministry require it for the levelisation of funding. Yeah, it's like really wow. So we actually did that as an exercise, and we found that we were definitely meeting over 3 hours a week if you wanted to quantify what tikana was here. So actually, what's our next step on building on that? How else can we implement it? We're a MAC school, so that's the Māori Achievement Collaboration movement. So we are continually meeting with them, little set goals that we craft together. What's it, the Māori Achievement Collaboration? So that's a big piece of work. And at the moment, a few years ago, probably about 6 years ago, some of our whānau and children wrote our school song, for example. So our next step is we've got a haka and we've done some karakia, but our next step is to build on those sorts of things. But what actually underpins those is that pedagogical shift in thinking. Some of our teachers are really great at going, I'm learning this week, kids. Your job is to give me a wahoo every time you hear me say it. So it might be a phrase, or it might be a paragraph, or it might be whatever. We do have school-wide tikana rotations. Where every person is expected to participate in all kinds of different fun ways. Some of them think it's fun. And of course we have our kapahakaroku, but once again it's that pedagogical shift. Why do we do what we do? Who is it for? Who are we asking about it? Who are we talking to? Those continued conversations.
Cool. So just towards the end here now, do you think there are still benefits in continuing with these annual events?
100%. 100%. Nobody else did it, I still would.
Right. Where's my last one gone? I know where it's here. Oh, there it is. Is there anything that you would add or change or alter? Yeah.
Oh, so at the minute we have our concert, we have Tapawai tournament, we have a hikoi, and we have a dawn viewing. If there was anything that I would add to it, it might be more into-school sport based, like what's the game I was looking at the other day? I can't even remember, but more into-school opportunities if possible.
Around sports.
Around sports, but changing it more to a wharetaka lens. So sport only is one pillar. So actually looking at what it is. We've got great artists amongst us. We've got great poets amongst us. Who is an orator? Orator. So just looking at it through a slightly different lens, and I believe that will happen quite naturally anyways. We are in conversations about ways we can float things, not around Matariki specifically, but around other things which will naturally lead into it. And also for us, opening our eyes to what other kinds of opportunities there are. No Matarikis ever look the same as the year before here. Within the school or within our school.
And you sort of do it as a term thing, do you?
Yeah. So term 2 is always swapped out for Matariki in different ways.
Awesome.
Cool.
Oh, thank you. That was
Welcome.
really informing.
What do you do with it all?
Hey?
What are you going to do with it all?